Well, hello everyone and welcome to the Basic Gardener. Today we are going to be looking at making heuchera cuttings. Such an easy thing to do. If I show you some of the heucheras that I've got around the garden, this is one of my favourites, sort of one of the dark varieties. I believe it's a variation of marmalade. This one was bought at the same time as that one and has never really taken to the spot it was in, so that's why I moved it to there. And these are the ones we're going to be looking at today. Tokyo is the variety, and this clump of flower or area was all created off one plant, and I'm going to show you how you do that and how easy it is to create cuttings from one heuchera plant. So we're looking for an area of new growth without any flowers on it, and just cut that out. Try and get as much of it off as deep down as you can, and I'll show you now we're in the little workshop that what you want to do is strip off as much of that as you can. So take off all the leaves, and you need to do this straight after cutting it off. You can't wait a couple of hours, you need to do it straight away and pull off as many leaves as you can. You only want to leave sort of 3 or 4 leaves on the top, and I'm pulling off quite a fair few bits here. Anything that's dead, anything that's going to stop that plant, that's going to take away moisture. Now the bottom bit is always quite woody, and it's always a good rule to pick off just some of that bark, and that's what I'm going to do now. Just pick off some of that bark. Just use your fingernail, it'll be absolutely fine. You want to strip that down to the bare flesh underneath, and that's what's going to help get some root on this plant. And obviously by removing all those leaves, we're not going to lose a load of moisture as well. So obviously now with that totally stripped down, we can pop that in the pot. An ordinary pot with a basic compost mix, any all-purpose compost or a cutting mix will be fine, and firm that in. And now we put it with the rest of our heuchera cuttings and just give it a very quick water. So these are the cuttings I've made so far. The one that I'm just about to point to here I don't think's taken. It was a bit of an experiment, didn't quite work out, but those ones have. And these ones over here are ready to go in. They were done about 3 months ago, and they're ready to go in. So as I said, just water that plant in, and we'll take that tray and put it somewhere in the shade, because heucheras are shade plants, and when you take a cutting, it's always a good rule to put them in the shade. Now we're going to plant out those bigger ones now, just quickly to finish the video off. Now I've just stood them in this bed out in the front garden. Good idea to stand them in a place before you're about to plant them in. You see that big heuchera there? That was done from a cutting last year. And this small one here, this little marmalade, this is lime marmalade, this one, my favourite variety. And I think that other lime marmalade will look just nice next to that. And just stand back, have a look, see what you think. It's always a good rule, again, just to do that. And now to finish off the video, I'm just going to quickly pop this one in. Sorry about the awkward kind of hand movement here. It was just me trying to get the camera in place and everything, and the trowel. Obviously, when planting out a heuchera, you want to try and get it as level with the ground as you possibly can. I'm just digging a very short, shallow hole here because there's not a great deal of root on these, but as you can see as I pop it out of the pot, there's still a decent amount. Just with your hands, run your hands through that and just try and break up that root. That'll encourage a bit of new growth in that root system. And then pop the whole thing in. I dug the hole slightly a bit too big here, so I just push some of that earth back in and then firm it in around it. And the last thing to do is just water that in. And that is everything we've got time for in this video. I hope you've learned something today from the Basic Gardener. And subscribe and enjoy the rest of the videos. We'll just water that little guy in. And we'll come back to these in a few months' time and see how they're all getting on. And we'll have another look at those cuttings.